Welcome to Tarot Time, where we dive into the energies of the week and bring you a forecast using tarot and other divination tools and what we're able to pick up directly through spirit. So, if you're watching this as a video, if it's not 11 a.m. Eastern Time on a Sunday, you're here as a video, and we'll get started in just a minute. We always let the live people get their notification, but it's been a very eventful week. Yes, for those of you that tuned into Tarot Time last Sunday, we showed a lot of strong energy and a lot of stuff going on this week, and it has not disappointed. So, lots of news. Unfortunately, it's not all good with new fighting breaking out in the Middle East. We had the rallies and the military parade yesterday that definitely a shout out to you guys that work with us to help with the collective energies to ease the violence and stuff. Because so far, from what I'm seeing, things were more or less pretty peaceful for all these demonstrations and what happened in Washington. Fortunately, that's not the same in the Middle East and Russia, Ukraine, and other parts of the world. But we did a on the full moon, we did a transmission. It did some really good high energy, calming energy prayers to help the collective, to help soften things. And I think between us and other groups that are doing similar work, I think we did good. So let me just say some hellos and we'll jump right on in. Oh, so yeah, happy Father's Day, everybody. Yes. Being a father myself, I'm being a little bit negligent. Thank you. Happy Father's Day. So let's see who's in. Hi, Roseanne. Good morning. Happy Father's Day. And Carla, thank you for that also. Hello, Yolanda. Welcome, welcome. And very good. Oh, thank you. So Judy was on. That was a really wonderful transmission. Hello, Victor from Truthwave. He does some amazing meditations also on his channel to help promote peace. So there's another place for you guys to go if you like this kind of work. Hello, Yvonne. Happy Father's Day and to you too. And hello, Suzette. All right, Felicia's in. Very good. Hello, Doreen. Thanks for all the happy Father's Day. Hello, Mary. Hello, Suzette again. Hello, Kay from North Carolina. Welcome from coastal North Carolina. Welcome, Kay. All right. Wow, you guys have been busy. I don't think I was that late, right? Hi, Judy. Hi, Millie. And if I miss anybody, I apologize. It's not on purpose. Hello, Mary Capocia. Welcome. Welcome. So if you guys are new and you want to say where in this big wide world you are tuning in from, please do that. Let me say I had my tea and water. So on a Sunday morning here in the Catskill Mountains, it's very gray. It's a little chilly for June, but nice energy, nice weather, even though it's no sun. Well, there is sun, but we can't see it. So anyhow, gratitude for all of our blessings, right? And we're here, we're healthy, or we're getting healthier if we're not quite healthy yet. We're connecting as community. We're alive during the greatest transition in a very, very long time here in the earth history, in the earth fields. We're going from one level of energy to a whole new level, a whole new ascended level of energy. And it's a little bumpy in the transition. So we're here to help to raise our own consciousness and to grow and develop spiritually, but also to affect the collective by through our own growth and raising our own vibrations. That helps the collective and helps raise the vibrations also. So hello, Claire. Same in New Jersey, gray and cool, but it's got a nice feeling. Hello, Katie Bluebird. Welcome. Thank you for the happy Father's Day and everybody that's wishing me and all the other dads happy Father's Day. Thank you so much. So we've got a lot of astrology, a lot of stuff that's going on right around the summer solstice. And I have to look into the chart because I don't know what planets are involved, but apparently there's both a grand cross and a grand trine happening around the solstice. And I do know there's a lot of planetary aspects. I know the four outer planets are all in harmonious alignment, although officially Uranus isn't part of the game until it reaches Gemini. So, but angularly speaking, it's in a trine and a sextile with the different outer planets. I'm not going to go into the details, but what's very interesting is that Jupiter is it's close to an exact conjunction with the Sun. That happens every year. It's more dependent on the movement of the Earth around the Sun. But this conjunction, there's actually two kinds of planetary solar conjunctions. There's a conjunction when the planet is in front of the Sun from our perspective, so it's conjuncting through the face of the Sun. And then there's the kind where it's opposition of the Sun, and Jupiter will be in opposition, so it'll be far away, but it helps to create a magnetic stream because what's Jupiter? It's a gas giant, and it's a big ball of plasma, and we have new sunspots developing, and we have a coronal hole. So what does that mean? That at least one of my predictions, I think most of my predictions will come true, but at least one of my predictions of heightened solar activity around the solstice. And that's backed up by astrology, and again with Jupiter behind and everything. And I found it's a very popular channel. So you guys probably found this before, but I found a really good channel that talks about all the solar stuff from a geophysicist named Stefan Burns. So if you guys know his channel, you can let us know. And he talks a lot about the reason I like him is the same reason I like Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden, because these are spiritual scientists. And even though he's a geophysicist, he knows a heck of a lot about astrophysics also, and how the planetary alignments affect the solar wind and affect what's going on with our Earth's magnetic field. So I'm really, learning a lot, having a background in meteorology, so I know a thing or two about geology and space weather to begin with. It's really kind of like really filling my cup with a lot of new knowledge. So anyway, what else are you guys saying? Happy Father's Day. Hi, Lindsay. All right, very good. Very good, guys. So lots going on with that, and obviously there's a lot going on in the world. It's part of the ascension. The old has to fall. We've been talking about this for years, preparing for years. We've been telling you guys that no, we're not going to go from 3D to 5D like that. It's a process, to be patient, and no, not all the corruption is going to rise to the surface just because there's a new administration. So I've been very hopeful, but also trying to be grounded in my predictions and assessments on what's going on in the world. It's a process, and it's not all going to happen at once. It's bumpy, but stay in your heart, stay in your power, vibrate from the heart, gratitude, compassion, love, all those high vibrations, and that'll help you with your transition to your higher consciousness and awareness, and it'll help the collective, and it helps the earth fields also. So so if there's somebody to know Stefan Burns, yes, he is wonderful. Yeah, he does all this high-end science, and then they'll say, so now let's do some group prayer to try to help the collective. So he really speaks my language. Yeah. Yes, I think most of the world is fighting for it. Yeah, you might have a point there. Yeah. Schoolhouse. Are we talking about music? Very good. All right. So what else you guys? Stefan is so hi Josh also. Yes. We like him. So what other good channels do you guys know about? And those of you that have channels, we're talking to you, Mr. Floyd, Truth Wave Energy, Millie, Horses Triggers Hope. All you guys that have YouTube channels, you're allowed, because we're a community, to give us your channel information, because a lot of people that come to Tarot Time, for example, go to a lot of different channels, and yours may be one of them. So anyway, let's do some tarot. It is tarot time, right? Let's do some tarot. So what I like to do is start out with a meditation card. We kind of warm up to the energies of the week that way and give us a tool for meditation. Low karma. That's Horses Triggers Hope. That's karma, right? Oh boy, yeah. Getting my names confused. You just really, yeah, all of our universes are changing, right? It's like our lives are changing big time, and I just spent the last 2 days just trying to get my energies grounded and set after finding out that I may not have a car before too long. Well, I do, but I may need a new car. I'll put it that way. Um, and a lot of the physical structure stuff is kind of dissolving a little bit. So it's more like I think you guys can relate to that in your own lives. That a lot of the constructs you're used to on a day-to-day level are starting to dissolve now. It's trying to get us to really clear a lot of the old and to ascend. We're relying on our vehicles, our homes, all that stuff for our physical lives, but we're having to just let go of things, right? But as I'm talking, I think we're going to be able to save the car and afford the thousands in repairs and all that stuff that goes along with it. We're going to save Alma the Altima, or Ultima, I think it's pronounced. Yes, I name my cars, I do. And since she's an Ultima, her name is Alma, which means soul, I think, in Italian, right? Or Alma the Ultima. Sitting in the shop. All right. So anyhow, here's our meditation card for the week, and then we'll get it into a little bit of what was I going to say? Instruction on how I like to teach people to meditate with tarot, or at least in the concept or context of what we do on tarot time. Okay, so I just have to clear my mind a second. I'm seeing a lot of puppies. Who's having puppies? A lot of little dogs. Well, puppies are innocent, and dogs represent helpers, allies, right? Humans' best friend. So call on your guide, call on your helpers, because they're puppies. You guys may be starting to connect with some new spirit guides or new helpers on the spiritual realm. All right. And what do we have here? We have the Knight of Pentacles. Knights move, Pentacles are slow. So Knight of Pentacles moves slowly. That is a meditation card. The idea is to get very present, relaxed, and open. Open your heart. Just be aware of what you feel, what your state of being is in that state of meditation. And once you feel very relaxed and calm in your mind, you step into the card. This is the Hanson Roberts deck. If you have your own tarot cards, you can pull your own Knight of Cups, Knight of Pentacles, excuse me. And as soon as you step in, the first thing is, what do you feel? Because you're stepping from one reality. It's a portal. Every tarot card's a portal. What's a portal? It's a gateway to a different reality, basically. Like we have like in the Wheel of the Year, we're coming up to the Lionsgate portal in about what 7 or 8 weeks or so. So we have these different numeric portals, these different energetic portals, but every tarot card's a portal, and you can find portals in the earth when you go, hiking in the woods. You might step somewhere, and this happens all the time to me. I'll walk, and all of a sudden the energy will change. It'll just stop and meditate in that, because I know I went into some kind of portal with that. So basically, our universe, our reality, there's so many different pathways that we can go into, so many different entrance points to other facets of energy, other facets of reality. Tarot's no different. It's the book of light. The 78 cards of the tarot represent all possible situations that you can encounter in a lifetime, basically. And it kind of was fed by the Kabbalah, by the Tree of Life, and by other ancient texts and ancient wisdom and knowledge. And knights represent fire, right? And pentacles represent earth. So the Knight of Pentacles is fire of earth, basically. A pentacle. Knights want to move, Pentacles want to be grounded and careful. It's about security and money sometimes also. So when you step into the card and you just feel the energies, I'm seeing like driving too, which is interesting. Well, I'm just talking about my car, right? And then I'm seeing 444 in my mind, which comes out to a 12, which is angelic in nature. But but the fours also can be the earth. It's Uranus rules, so it can be also about very sudden changes and nonconformity. But in any regards, who's the Knight of Pentacles? That might be your spirit guide that's helping you on some kind of a journey for more security in your physical life, because when you're grounded and secure physically, then you're more able to ascend spiritually, if that makes sense. Otherwise, I mean, you can still ascend spiritually without being grounded, but we want to bring all that beautiful energy into this physical earthly domain, because we're here to be agents of change and to transcend. You can't transcend the earth plane if you don't know every single ins and outs of the earth plane, basically. Want to escape the matrix? Well, learn what the matrix is, live in the matrix, breathe the matrix, be the matrix. Otherwise, you'll never escape it, basically. That's my way of thinking. Anyway, if you have other views on that, please comment that. And yeah, that would be the slowest moving night, I would think also. Yeah, exactly. And so as you step into the card, right, you feel the energy. You might be seeing other figures, because this is just the doorway to a whole new reality. What's in that reality? What colors comes to you? What scents? What smells? Because these are all messages from spirit. And once we ascend in meditation, basically, not that we're locked into the physical, but we realize that we're spirit. We have physical senses, but we also have spiritual senses. So when we step out of the physical, then you might get psychic smells that helps you to relate to the energy of this card, or see colors in your mind's eye if you're visual. If not, you might feel colors. That's just as effective. Or hear sounds. And this is all more your spirit senses being activated by the energies of the energies of the card. And then what message did you get? What comes to you? This might be about, maybe some of you are moving or changing jobs, or making some movements in your physical or earth life, or your perspective of yourself, changes in your body. Pentacles can be the body also. Changes in your health. Maybe if you're going through some ups and downs of health, when you go into your meditation here, ask this figure, this spirit guide, what changes to make for your own health, to enhance your own health, whether it be natural, energetic, or working with allopathic medicine and pharmaceutical drugs, whatever it is for you. You can ask. Remember, even the dense pharmaceutical medications that unfortunately get misused and exploited by the pharmaceutical company, they came from God also. Everything came from spirit or source, and they have their place too, right? So I think for a lot of you, this is going to be more of a journey of health and getting more grounded. Pentacles like to ground, so it's moving towards being more grounded. And the more grounded we are, the more stronger we are in our frame, the more we can handle with the changing energies of the world, and the more that we can be the change that we want to see in our lives. So that's what I get for that. Enjoy the silence. I might start singing sounds of silence. I grew up loving it. Well, I loved Emerson, Lake and Palmer too, but I was gonna say I love Simon and Garfunkel, and he wrote this Sound of Silence, I think, in 1963. It came out in 1964, and if you listen to those lyrics, it's like, OMG, ahead of our time, ahead of their time, way ahead of their time. And silence like you cancer grow. I think a lot of people that don't support the current administration and support change, they did not stay in silence. They went out all over the country and demonstrated, basically their views, demonstrating, making your views available, and taking affirmative action is a great thing, as long as it's aligned with spirit and your higher self, rather than the dense physical. Like, for example, if you're afraid of what's going on and you're angry, fearful, or whatever, you're just drawing from those energies of anger and fear, those lower vibrations, and your actions are going to be more aligned with the problem, not the solution. But when you open your heart, connect with spirit and source, then you get the downloads and take the appropriate action to support spirit and to support positive change. Then you move mountains, right? So that's the tricky thing. There's a very fine line, and you have to be able to meditate, to experience presence in order to be able to differentiate between what's coming more from the ego, which is programmed by society to make us feel angry, fearful, hateful, and all that, versus what's coming purely from spirit. It's just through developing that ability to transcend the physical and connect more with the spiritual. And that happens through meditation, right? So what are you guys saying? I'm seeing a lot of wow. Hi, Jackie, and anybody else that I missed. Oh, I didn't mean to flash that, but oh, wow. Funny Depeche story. Is this about Depeche Mode or another kind of Depeche? I briefly went to acting class with a lady named Jennifer. We did an exercise where she was talking about a David. Turns out she's David Gahan's wife in video. I had a similar conversation with somebody. It's not that I used to have a client named Rory Drury, and I'm a big Rangers fan. I like ice hockey. It took me about 2 or 3 sessions to realize that she was Chris Drury's wife. This is before Chris Drury was the general manager of the Rangers. So it's kind of like one of those things. It's like you're reading for the I think he was the GM for their minor league affiliate, but reading for the wife of the future GM of the hockey team that I follow, and it's like, wow, what synchronicity is that? Basically, Karma Fest. Oh, I heard about Karma Fest. Where's that happening? At Havre de Grace, Maryland. Nice. I heard about Karma Fest also. Very good. So let's do a 3-card spread. So this will be more about what's going on energetically, in the week around us and all that kind of stuff. Met in rehab. Yeah, that's a great story, Mary. Thanks for sharing that. Oh, you got to meet them last night, did you say? Wow, that's exciting. I used to follow basketball a lot. Yeah, when I was younger, I even played basketball. I made my high school varsity team, which is miraculous. If you saw how tall I am, you would be like, "What?" It's like these kids. 9 out of 10 of them are all 6 foot and higher. I was 5'5". In high school. Yeah. So 3-card spread. And they're seeing a motorcycle. The spirits may be trying to say hi. Oh, I'm sure a few of somebody that may pass on a motorcycle. But if anybody knows that, and either the person's name was Jason or that's an important name or around your family, your loved one, maybe saying hi. On that note, on June 19th, Juneteenth, at 7 o'clock, we're going to be doing mediumship on the Medium channel. And basically for an hour, that's also, the 21st is going to be our 5th year anniversary of the Medium channel, which is amazing. Hard to wrap my brain around that. I've been doing this for 5 years now, but we're doing it on the 19th. And all I do for about an hour is I just get messages, and we usually have about anywhere from 60 to 100 people on the chat, and people chime in and say, I think that's my loved one, because what I'll do is I'll get the energy, I'll describe them, I'll get as much information as I can, and give messages from your loved ones on the other side. So we do that every Celtic Sabbath, and this is Litha, or I think it's pronounced Litha, or the summer solstice on here in the East Coast. It's at the very end of June 20th, like I think an hour before midnight in Europe. It's on the 21st. Here it's the 20th of June. Is the moment of the solstice. All right, so let's do a 3-card spread. No. Clear mind. This one. Okay. 3 cards. So let's see what we have. Whoops, I have cards overboard. Hold on a second. Yeah, if I can't even work a clipboard, you could see why I don't use more high tech kind of thing. Oh, oh, you guys are talking about all the famous people. Wow, so you got to meet Robin Williams. What a thrill that is. Who have I met that's really famous? I got a few of them. Like meeting John Edward as a medium. That was kind of a thrill. Um, and then, anyways, so we have the King of Swords, the Devil card, but it's reversed, and then the three, the Seven of Swords reversed. Let me just try to gauge the energy, because the King, that's about power, authority, rulership. It's also air. Swords are also air. We are finishing up the sign of Gemini, which is an air sign as well. Um, there may be just a message here, a word to the wise, to use your common sense, not to get, because it also feels very reactionary, the energies to me. So again, a reminder not to get swept up by all the media hype that's going on. Reality is often stranger than fiction, right? And I mean, not that the news is fiction, but it kind of is in a way. Um, it's sort of, let me put it this way, because it's not fiction. News isn't fake. It's just the way that it's presented, and what gets shown versus what doesn't get shown. It's manipulated. So then that's how it becomes fake more than anything. Technology. We love that term around here. Um, and just changing a word around in a sentence or just a facial expression directs the thinking of the masses. So it's all about programming now. We had no King's Day, right? That was yesterday, so we have the King of Swords coming up. And our current president just happens to be a Gemini, right? Yesterday was his birthday. That's an air sign. uh, so the devil card reverse and the sign reverse. Are there going to be more truth reveals around the Trump administration or things like that? Um, Certainly, they show me bombs dropping. We talked about the escalations of the crisis the last couple of weeks. Unfortunately, it's happening. It's not boding well for one of my predictions for July, which was the end of June into the summer, which was a 30-day ceasefire in Russia, Ukraine, while they try to hash out some peace. So, I mean, it still might happen, but from where I'm sitting right now, it ain't looking good. So let's keep putting the prayers out there. War sucks, right? And stuff like that. But when the devil card comes reversed, because the devil card is that which is restricted. That's like what holds us back, what keeps us earthbound, basically. It's not literally the devil. It's not literally like evil, but it shows us where we're stuck in our personal lives and as a society. But when it's reversed, we might be addressing those issues. So this is a good week to get unstuck, to do whatever work that you do, whether it's shadow integration work or meditation or working with a counselor or spiritual therapist, whatever it is. This is a good energy to get unstuck. We're in a waning moon. We're coming up to a new moon in like a week and a half. So we're coming out the gibbous waning and into the third quarter moon. Good time to let go of things. So this is a good letting go period. There's been a lot of energy building the last couple of weeks. A lot of stress over the marches and the military parade in DC, which apparently wasn't too well attended. Um, Trump's birthday bash and all that. So there's a lot of stress leading up to that and a lot of tension. It almost feels like we have an opportunity to kind of pull the release valve and let some of that tension go now. So it's a really good time for us to just do some things, just to relax, just to let go and to open the heart and just be grateful for every breath and every moment, basically. Uh, and again, to use our higher wisdom and stuff like that. I think we start to see news, I know we get a pretty good mix of people that are more left wing leaning versus those that are more Trump leaning or right wing leaning, or whatever. So whatever your views, the reality is a lot's going to be coming up. A lot's going to be, I don't know if I want to say exposed, but or revealed, but be more evident in things that may not be being fulfilled in relationship to certain campaign promises. What sticks out and what keeps echoing in my brain is two separate talks that Donald Trump made before he became president. You're promising that there was not going to be a World War III, that we were going to take care of that. And recently, I've been hearing him saying, prepare for World War III. It's on the doorstep. Now, I'm not dissing on Trump because they all make campaign promises and they all don't fulfill them. So it's just, same as it ever was, same as it ever was. But that, for whatever reason, that's sticking out in my head. And you know what? Things may progress in a way that we don't go into full World War III. So until it happens, never say never, right? And part of my predictions for the last several years was there would not be a World War III, but we'd get damn close, basically, that it would appear that we're heading in that direction. Right now, it appears that we're heading in that direction. Frankly, from where I'm sitting, it's hard for me to conceptualize anything stopping it. So I think that the next course of action is just to make sure that you're okay and to keep vibrating peace into the collective. That's how we may be able to alter the trajectory. I feel like what Spirit's saying now in the current timelines, it will likely happen to some degree, but not like it could. I know a lot of the worries are certain countries have nuclear capabilities and all that. And a single detonation, getting back to things I've learned on Stefan Burns' channel, single nuclear detonation affects the entire fabric of the planet. Because it's a huge plasma release, just like it's like almost like a mini solar flare in a way. Because when there's a solar flare, there's a plasma release, and there's often a coronal mass ejection associated with that. So it really affects the energy of the earth, and it's not just a local thing. And so in any event, keep putting the prayers out there. But again, this is the rip-off card in the tower, the Seven of Swords. When you see that coming up in a spread, like if you had a personal spread, that's Spirit's way of telling you to be careful about somebody trying to take something of yours, whether it's on an energetic or emotional level, or it's literally being ripped off. So be a little bit careful on social media in the next week or two. I run into about anywhere from 6 to 10 scams per day, or attempted scams. A lot of it's through text, like, oh yeah, you have a package that's undeliverable, or what are some of the latest ones. It's not funny, but it is. I can't think of, but some of them are just over the top ridiculous, basically. And that's basically that. It's a little bit of chaotic energy. I always look at this current timeline with our current U.S. president as just sort of an embodiment of the coyote, the Native American legend. The one, the trickster, basically the one that tricks us into learning and growing. And I think with all the division, all the stress, and everything that's coming out, and it keeps building and building, I think basically it's a lot of trickery. But I think it's what's needed in our collective. It's like a shock that's needed in order to say, hey, this just ain't working. We've got to ascend. We've got to do something. So I think that's part of the dynamic anyway. I mean, I know there's also the different elements of it, and I think it's ultimately leading to uncovering a lot of ills in society and a lot of corruption. So I do believe that there's that also that's going on as well. But it has to come out, and this could also be saying that a lot is falling so that new things can come out. I'm hearing a lot more about things like deceptions in certain medical procedures. to handle something that began in 2020, basically, that was things that were known and not disclosed to the public. And my feeling about that is, medications can be good or they can be harmful, but we need to know the facts so that we can make informed decisions for ourselves as well as our society, right? And we weren't granted, from my belief anyways, we weren't granted that ability because important information was being withheld that's slowly coming out. And they're changing some of the warnings, and they're changing some of the schedules for the children on these different inoculations. One in particular, right? So a lot of stuff's coming out, and I think a lot of people are going to be shocked. It's going to still take a while. I think the summer's a big unveiling party. I think this is where things really start to collapse. Things are going to look different come the autumn. It may not be so much that the whole structure of society's fallen, that money has no value, that we're in complete anarchy. I don't think it's that. I think it's more controlled chaos and more of a controlled detonation rather than everything gets blown up. But we're going to see a lot of changes, basically. And yeah, we're going to see some world leaders stepping down. And there's a political assassination recently in Minnesota, right? We talked about the increase of that happening. Frankly, I don't think you need to be a psychic to figure that out. Hopefully, there won't be any others or too many others, but I still think that the president needs to be careful about a few things, his health especially. And I've been, it's interesting because I think it was in January I was talking, or in the winter, talking about, like, I got this image of Donald Trump having a stroke, and then I've been listening to different medical people watching Trump and swearing that he had they said a right frontal lobe stroke that they're covering up, and they could see that in his body movements and stuff like that. And he tends to trip a lot now, also, in case you haven't noticed. So there's something that's being covered up with his health. It's very apparent to me. You guys can let me know what you think about that. But that might not be it. I think there's other things that get surface, and I'm seeing a lot with other countries, and it's almost like feeling like we've talked about bipartisan pressure to try to amend this current administration or end it or whatever. I think we're going to start to see that on an international, some pressures from other countries. It's probably already happening. I just haven't seen it in the news yet, but I think we're going to see more of that. So whether or not this president makes it through the summer is questionable. A couple of things, timelines are so fluid. I mean, I've seen an image of that of July into early August of him leaving. I think that's a timeline that's very possible. But two things about that. One, when I care, it's harder to trust my intuition. I care if he's, who's our president. So that's one thing. And the other, like I said, the timelines are fluid. I just am almost 100% certain he's not going to make it 4 years for one reason or another. And from one perspective, from a spiritual perspective, he'll leave when the job is done, basically, whether it's tomorrow or in 4 years. And his job is basically, it's not necessarily he's appointed by God. It may be more happenstance, but from a spiritual perspective, he's, it's a change of society. It's going to catalyze a lot of things being uncovered, the corruption that's been part of the society for many decades. They're saying at the core, at the fabric. So that, and it's going to catalyze a lot of change. And again, the coyote is revered in the Native American. It's not seen as negative, by the way, because they're the tricksters, yes, but there's learning and growth in the trickster's wake. That's their job, basically, to create the chaos so that we grow and ascend. So if that happens sooner than later, the job might be done, and it might change the administration. It's all conjecture at this point, but watch out for the summer. A lot's going to change. And leading up to this week, again, this is it's tense energy, so do a lot of calming, a lot of back and forth, a lot of arguing. So stay in your lane. Try not to get into it with people that have different viewpoints. Sometimes I'll just bow and say, that's just not my belief system, but thank you for sharing, whatever it is, and be willing to let go. Our subconscious mind wants to hold on to everything because it's our survival instinct, but our spirit can override our primitive survival instinct. It's uncomfortable, but be willing to let go and embrace change. And that's a biggie for this week, I want to say, and the weeks to follow. So anyway, let me see what we're saying, what you guys have to say, and then I'll move on to other things. Thank you from Don Miguel Ruiz. What's that? The second agreement, I think. Don't take things personally. But that's good. I remind myself that because I get obviously a lot of pushback on YouTube, and sometimes they get pissed off and say something I shouldn't say, and I have to remember, it's their issue, it's not mine. Don't take it personally, right? So that's very good. Enjoy the sandwich. Thinking Clinton. We talk about Clintons. Yeah, I think the Clintons will be on the news. Speaking of Clinton, also, there may be something going on with Bill Clinton. I know he must be getting up on his years, right? Also, I said, I'm not gonna. Hi, Chanley. Hi, Midas touch, right? I watched that, and I watched the pro-Trump. I watch both sides of the political spectrum because I want to see what they're saying. And Josh saying all presidents don't look well. That's a good point. They're probably all very heavily medicated, right? But this one, and Joe Biden too. After second year, he just didn't look well to me, and he didn't seem mentally sharp to me. If Donald Trump has anything like that, it's a different style. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about that. And Mary just saying, it's just the person who is a catalyst, right? It sucks to be a catalyst, a hard road. Your Daniel was a catalyst also, yeah. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I remember the before and after of Barack Obama was pretty scary also. 8 years, man, oh man. Yeah, so I get your point, and that's a very valid point. This is about Trump again. So hi, Jackie. What? I don't even know. Down here, he's covering his right hand. Probably. Yeah, and it's not just Trump, as Mr. Floyd, as Josh pointed out. They've been there. Remember Ronald Reagan? People thought I was crazy then also, and I was, God, that was in the 80s. I was just really starting to find my abilities as a psychic, and I think it was the second term. I'd watch him, and I tell people he's diseased. This man is diseased. There's something wrong with him, and people are like, "Oh, Adam, what are you talking about? He's fine or whatever." He had freaking Alzheimer's disease. He was running the White House with Alzheimer's disease, or his wife was. But the president is mostly the figurehead, right? Certainly, especially today's president, certainly has views, personal views that are expressed without a whole lot of filters, but there's still a whole team that's running the country, and it kind of all goes through the president, right? It all runs through the president. And I'm not just talking about the cabinet, I'm talking about the behind the scenes people also. We can talk about JFK with Addison's disease and about a half a dozen serious other medical issues where he really, hindsight, probably wasn't fit to be the president, yet he was one of the most beloved presidents. Depends on who you talk to, right? So anyway, did Let Spirit Guide come in? If so, hi Laura. If I missed you, and hi Sarah. Also, I agree with you. Group effort makes it bigger, energetic than solo. Yes, it does, and that's why we're here. We're a community, right? Making a difference in the energy. Yes, heck of a lot of biohackers. Yep. Thank you. So I missed a lot of your comments. There she is. Hi, Laura. If you missed her interview, it was absolutely fabulous. The message she gave us was to die for, well, to live for, not to die for, to live for. And that's on the Medium channel. That was an interview with Laura, basically. And she's saying yeah, we can definitely influence outcomes, maybe not all exactly. Some things are meant to happen. We can soften them, and that's what we're doing. You know, we're not God. We're all aligned to God. We're all God, but we're not God. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah. Yes. All right. Thank you. Hello, Stanley. What do you think will happen this summer? We're gonna roll that out on Thursday. I'm preparing a whole video on the summer psychic forecast, but in a word, change. In a word, the old falling, cascading, but new heroes emerging, new spiritual teachers, new hope, new wisdom emerging. It's interesting. I'm just seeing like tablets. I think that there's going to be amazing discoveries also, like ancient tablets, basically discoveries of underground cities. It's an amazing time to be alive. Hang in there, stay grounded, stay in your heart. Try not to feed too much into the drama. Be aware of what's going on in the world, because we have to be spiritual warriors, peaceful warriors. And you can't be a peaceful warrior if you don't know your playing field, because the way of the warrior is the way of strategy. And if you don't know your playing field, not just physically, but on all levels, you can apply the proper strategy to win, basically, right? And that's what it's about. Because if I win, everybody wins. If you win, everybody wins, basically. Because you're spiritual people. That's not true of everybody, but for you guys it is. Yes. All right. The Tower card. Well, I'll give you a little heads up, a little sneak preview. July 2025 is a universal number 16 month in numerology. 16, key 16 in the tarot is the Tower card. 16 in Chaldean numerology is a shattered citadel. That's the symbol of 16 in Chaldean numerology. And 1 plus 6 is 7, right? So 16 is also a 7. So it's Neptune, it's intuition. So July is a tower experience month according to numerology. And there's a lot of aspects, especially around the solstice. Grand Cross and a Grand Trine all around that. I mean, some of it may involve like the nodes or the asteroids, but it's still, it's still those geometric shapes. Everything is geometrical in the physical, sacred geometry. So you have a triangle and a square. That's pretty intense energies that are going on. And then you have, again, Jupiter in that superior conjunction with the sun, which is going to help to ignite the sun. Thank you again, Stefan Burns, for teaching me this. And he had predicted the last major solar activity because there's a superior conjunction with Mercury. In other words, Mercury is conjuncting the sun on the far side of the sun, and that helps to open up the magnetic stream to enhance that. And the only reason that we didn't have a G5 storm and have amazing auroras, the auroras were underwhelming. Well, two reasons. One, it was a negative magnetic tilt, the negative, what is it, the BZ or the NZ? Oh, no, it's a positive, and that kind of counters the magnetic field. In other words, when the tilt is in the opposite direction, the energy doesn't get dispersed as much by the ionosphere, which actually means there's a stronger effect on consciousness on the Earth. And the second reason is around the solstice. It's harder to get. Well, for a couple of reasons. The northern hemisphere, if you're in that latitude, you're just not seeing it because it's freaking light out, right? Once you get past 55 degrees north or so, it never gets dark around the solstice. You go into a twilight, at midnight. You don't go into complete darkness. And the other reason is that the magnetic field is more activated around the equinoxes, because the sun is so tilted that inhibits it. So even if we get amazing solar activity, we may not get amazing auroras out of it, but we'll get some. For the aurora lovers, we'll still get some. Rico, who knows what day the Carrington event was in 1859? Was that around the equinoxes? Because the big Halloween event obviously that was, closer to the equinox and the solstice. The May event was kind of in between. The October event of last year, of 2024, was early October, all closer to the equinoxes, because it's more conducive to that, based just on the physics of the Sun Earth dynamics, basically. Anyway, I'm seeing ETs in my mind, so I think there's going to be some new big reveals about extraterrestrial intelligence. So thank you, whoever asked me about the summer. Thank you, because that got us into a whole other conversation. And I'm missing a lot of your conversation, but in any event, August 28th, and when is August 28th? Oh yeah, that's less than a month away from the equinox. So there you have it. Oh, did somebody send me a super sticker? Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Chris. Or is that I think there's a different name for that, but thank you very much. I definitely appreciate it. Oh, okay. I have to write. Oh yeah, well, we'll send you a lot of love for your impact statement, so that you get high impact returned on your lawsuit. Yes, indeed. And have fun, Josh. Whatever you're doing, have fun. Your plans have changed by spirit. That'll happen. And Jackie, also, acknowledging. Yeah, he that channel's gonna freaking blow up. That channel's gonna freaking blow up. Hello, Christopher Stone. And what did we say? Me and my mom both work in nursing, and we had a nightmare on Elm Street night. Horrible. Ken, I saw you get rid of people. Oh, you actually saw it? You maybe saw it lifting. Wow. Reminds me when my dad was in solstice in hospice. Oh, thank you, Suzette. What, did they change the super stickers? Oh, okay. Maybe they just changed the super sticker. Thank you guys. The donation, we appreciate it. But people that work in that field, they know, they see things, and it's an interesting story, because he passed in 05, and he went to a hospice in the East Village somewhere, like I think it was like on 3rd Street and Avenue B. It had like either Yiddish or Polish last name, the name of it, like Horowitz or something like that. But that's the name of the hospice. So I'm sitting there, and there's a gentleman by me, and I'm like, all right, I'm not here to be a medium. And then he's like, I'm Jerome. I used to live here. And, all right. So I kind of sheepishly go up to the receptionist and say, don't think I'm crazy, but I'm a medium. And would there be any reason, was there anybody named Jerome that lived here, worked here? And she kind of looked at me and said, that's the first name of the person that the hospice was named after, and he had an apartment right upstairs or something like that. So anyway, so that was a good pat on the back. But I'm not bragging. There's more to the story. There's 2 nurses that overheard the conversation, and then when I pulled away, they came up to me and said, "We believe you. We believe you. We've seen things like just the other day, Mr. Green was dying, and we both saw 2 blue angels around him." So those of you that work in the field, may understand that. Oh yeah, I was talking about scams, and because it comes up on my my text come up on my field here. That was the other scam. I have unpaid tolls. Like, really? All right. So anyway, let's do some other divination cards. Let's do the frequency of the week. Cami, wow, thank you so much. You guys are just too awesome. I love you guys and appreciate you very much. And couldn't come at a better time, because in my reality, my universe, I'm really clearing all that old negative money, lack, karma, whatever you want to call it. So when I see these coming in, it's like, thank you, because it really means more to me than just the money. It just means that I'm breaking free of something that's really held me back this whole lifetime, and probably many other lifetimes as well. So anyhow, so the frequency of the week is according to the sacred geometry deck, is heart chakra. We get heart chakra a lot. And yes, I do mix my cards up. Well, although we haven't gotten this one for a few weeks. That's the green flower of life, right? Right in the heart chakra. We talk every day, every live stream. Not a single live stream will go by without me talking about the practice heart brain coherence. For the Joe Dispenza lovers, Greg Braden lovers, you know what I'm talking about. And all it is, it's a form of gratitude meditation. That's all it is. It's very simple. You get present. So present, you're not a name, you're not a body, your energy, your frequency, right? I do that every morning. Then once I'm there, I'm aware that I have a body. I'm aware that I have a physical life, but that's not who I am. I'm energy and frequency. And by doing that, you connect more with the quantum field of the realm of spirit. It's a little bit of a misnomer that you go to the quantum field when you do this, because you're already in the quantum field. It's just that your attention is so hyper focused on your physical body and your physical life, you kind of block out the other 99.999999999 and a few other 9% of reality that we're a part of, basically. So by doing that, you kind of soften your attention on the physical, and then you start to expand more into the spiritual. When I do that, I get such a head rush. It's almost like I feel like I'm taking off, and I just can't help but to feel grateful, because in those moments, I know no matter what's going on in my personal life, that's a personal story. I know that this present moment is perfect, exactly the way it's supposed to be. Then I feel grateful in my heart. I feel compassion in my heart. And that's what heart brain coherence is. And you hold it. And by doing that, you can even visualize your heart and your brain blend and become one, because the heart is magnetic, the brain's electrical. This is a Joe Dispenza teaching. So the heart's, thank you, Laura, too. Thank you for the super stickers. Well, I will show you guys the teal version of that. um, um, and so the heart's magnetic and the brain's electrical, but the heart's the largest and strongest electromagnetic generator in the body. The brain's number 2. So what does magnetism do? It directs electrical currents. So if you cultivate the frequency of the heart, it directs the mind, right? It directs the electrical circuitry of the mind. So when you start to blend them, then you start to connect with spirit. So when you reestablish the heart-brain connection, because the heart and the brain really are 2 parts of the same system, and we even have a form of brain cells in our hearts. So when they become one, exactly, Kelly, Carl, I think that's what you said. Becoming aware of being in the quantum, right? So when they blend and become one, which is your natural state, then you blend more with spirit, and then certain superhuman, supernatural abilities start to elevate. You start to connect with these abilities. Like I discovered I could do distance healing, and not again, I'm not bragging, because each and every one of you could do the same thing, but I've had people. It's not going to work every time, because everybody's on their own soul trajectory, but sometimes it'll work this way. And I had a couple of cases. One that was really striking with somebody with 48 hours to live, given 48 hours to live, pancreatic cancer, in home hospice. At the request of his ex, I did a distance. He lived in France. I'm here in New York. Next day he felt different. Within 3 days he was out of bed. He was eating. And the tumor shrunk. And it's just, we're part of this energetic field, and we access it through blending our own energetic field through our heart-brain coherence, and then we connect with spirit and source. Then we can learn how to cultivate our chi and prana and connect with universal chi and direct it for healing, manifestation, or whatever. So if you want to manifest something, do your law of attraction work, absolutely, but do your heart-brain coherence as the foundation of that. So if I hold an attention in my brain, right, I'm visualizing my dream, not just with visual, but with all my senses, and in my mind, in the present moment, I'm living my dream. That's the brain, and I'm feeling grateful as if it already manifested. That's the heart. You see, the emotions it's energy, emotion. It creates a magnetic charge, and the that's the heart, and the brain's the transmitter and receiver of that information. So you hold that in the information in your brain, you open your heart and you transmit that information to the quantum field, and you receive your dreams, your dream life from the field also. So that's what I mean by the transmitter receiver of the heart's information, or the heart brain's information. Does that make sense? I hope so. Let me read the card. The frequency of the heart chakra, the green flower of life, supports our capacity to love deeply and unconditionally. Its healing properties harmonize the mind and the body. So what happens when your brain comes into coherence, into vibrational coherence? So does your body, because your mind is, it's not just your brain. Your brain extends through your nervous system, through your entire body. And you can even argue that your brain extends into your auric fields through your meridial system, which the nervous system is patterned after. And by the way, the meridian and the nerve system looks very much like the roots of trees. Coincidence? I think not. So when you harmonize the heart and the brain, you harmonize the body too, because you affect changes in your nervous system, which signals your bodily functions to do different things, to heal maybe. So I still think it's going to be one of the biggest spiritual revolutions moving forward is the heart brain coherence practice, which is all based on ancient teaching, ancient wisdom, but supported by science now. Thank you, Jojo. You guys are so good to me. I love you. Thank you so much. And or your donation do support the channel. In fact, I need new equipment. It's all breaking. So, and anyhow, so I thank you. So I had the medicine cards. Let's do a little bit of Native American stuff. So let's look at what our totem animal is. So a heart. So vibrate, double down on your heart coherence. There's heart breathing. You can do deep breathing with the heart to increase the magnetism of the heart also. Augment that with your heart brain coherence. I like to expand with the inhale and contract with the exhale, because it's a natural thing, because my heart's doing that. But you can reverse that polarity. Like you can actually contract with the inhale. So you contract, you kind of draw the heart in as you inhale, and then when you exhale, you kind of, with your exhale, expand that energy out into the universe. So that's a really good way to send your heart energy, your compassion out into the fields, reversing the polarity of what I usually teach on how to do your breathing with the heart. You can do it both ways. It has a different dynamic effect. Breath is life, right? You can live weeks without food, days without water, but you can't live more than a few minutes without breath, right? So it's the universe, it's the breath of life. So in the medicine card, our totem animal, I'm seeing a turtle. I picked a salmon. Turtles are terrestrial, right? Terrapin station for the deadheads. Salmon is the one that'll will not let the current stop them from reaching their breeding grounds. This is a very powerful totem for these times, because if you're a spiritual warrior and you're trying to help and to teach and enlighten people, you're going against the currents of the collective consciousness, because the collective consciousness is deeply programmed by those forces or beings that want to maintain the control over humanity, and the only way they can do that is block awakening, because if too many people awaken, they're going to lose their control. So call on the totem of the salmon to swim upstream, to find those breeding grounds, to continue doing things. A lot of us, I think it's part of the energy. I described a little part of a setback I had this week. I've seen your story, Josh. I actually commented on that video that good dawning that you ended early. Maybe you saw that. I haven't checked my comments recently, but I know that you're going through it. But a lot of it's due to revealing of new knowledge and information, and forcing us to transcend some of the old belief systems or the things that we used to hold dear, basically. But so that's a beautiful totem for this time. Call on the salmon to continue to move forward in your life, even if it's going against the currents of society. the salmon will get you to your destination, basically. All right. So anyhow, what are you saying? 44 likes. Oh, nice. So if anybody wants to like this video, maybe more people will see it if the YouTube algorithm doing its thing. I also have the Native American tarot. I'm seeing that it's already been over an hour, of course. This is our weekly meeting. Yeah, turtle. Yeah, so sometimes I see what in my mind the turtle. That's terrapin. That's the earth. Stay grounded. Slow and steady wins the race, right? Always be present in the journey. The destination is hypothetical. That's not real. Only the present moment is. So you want to be, appreciative and in the journey, but always have, the idea of your destination. Have that in your mind or in your energy field, but to have your dreams, obviously, not to abandon them, but be present in the journey. And that's another thing the turtle teaches us. Slow and steady wins the race. Every step's a miracle, right? The fact that I got out of bed, that I'm walking, that I don't have a walker, I don't have a wheelchair, that's a miracle. Basically, that's something to be grateful for. That I can, if I want to go out hiking later, I can walk. Like, it's a 5-minute walk to a trail in Catskill Park. I would need a backpack and a tent, well, or at least a sleeping bag. But I could walk from my house to the top of Slide Mountain through the trail system that starts at the back of my house. It would be a 2-day hike, but I could do it if Slide Mountain's the tallest peak in the Catskills. My cards are all crazy. I'll just do this anyways. Some of them are facing up, some of them are facing down, but this is the Native American tarot. And what we got is the one of vessels. That's the Ace of Pentacles. So Pentacles is the big suit. Pentacles is the body. That's the earth. That's our security, money, jobs, all that kind of stuff. So there's likely to be some changes going on in our physical lives, but good changes. And no, Ace of Vessels is the Ace of Cups. Excuse me, Vessels is cups. That's even different because that's emotions, right? New love, maybe new friendship, could be new romance or something new that's going to bring you happiness and joy. And I think one of the messages is, whatever you do, sometimes we have to work because we need money to live and to pay our rent or whatever, but keep your dreams in your mind. This is a good period to start to really move towards creating your dreams and things that will make you happy. If you have an idea of what you might want to do professionally, whatever it is, or romantically, whatever it is, this is a good energy of new beginnings that's going to really feed your heart and your soul, basically. So Spirit wants us to know that while we're invoking the salmon to move through all the craziness of our world, to move forward in our lives, to know that there is a beautiful new beginning around you, basically. Yeah. So basically from here, because I'm in Phoenicia, and this is the the Lane Street trail. I think I'd have to go through Cornell and Wittenberg Mountain to get to Slide Mountain. That's a lot of peaks and a lot of hiking. I don't know, I'd say it would take 2 days for me to do that, but I could. Yes. Yeah, definitely check out Victor's channel. That's Truth Wave Energy for his meditation. Yeah, you do those every day, right? What's Sarah saying? Sarah knows a thing or two about turtles. Turtle trusts his own intuition and listens to it to heal. That's what I've learned from my time with the box turtle. Salmon also follow their intuition. So it's all about following your intuition. Yeah, that's what Sarah's saying. The underlying messages. What else do we have here? Couple more divination cards. Let's get a couple more messages before we break. I know it's already been a little while. So according to Kyle Gray's Divine Masters Oracle, Sanat Kumara, open channel, signs, codes, downloads, and sacred information. in regards to this deck, I probably could have shuffled it better. And then Spirit saying, no, we wanted you to pick this again because I just picked this card recently. I think it was in the full moon forecast, right? We got this card as well. So signs, so be open to the signs. It's very solar energy. We're in Litha, the summer solstice right now energy. So this is in the northern hemisphere. This is maximum sun, maximum solar. The sun creates, the sun warms, the sun heals. So this is the time to really work with that energy and to open those channels to let all that beautiful light in, all that beautiful spiritual light into your heart. Let the light into your heart, expand from the heart, expand around you, and then you become a beacon of light and love and attract light and loving beings, both in the physical and in the spiritual dimensions. And also, I have to pull from the Isis Oracle deck. It just has to be because I feel like we're in the time of Sekhmet now. Well, that's actually the Lionsgate portal, so we're coming to the time of Sekhmet. By the way, Spirit Fest 2025 going to be Escape the Matrix retreat. I think there's still about 5 spaces open. It's August 1st through 3rd in the Catskills, and we do some very high-end spiritual work in these retreats. It's very transformative work. So we're going to teach everybody how to transcend, because that's what we do. It's not necessarily escaping the matrix, it's more like a transcendence of it, recognizing that we're here to learn and grow and to expand beyond this realm, basically. So we're going to teach you a lot. And there's going to be a lot of channel work. So it's going to be a lot of activation work from the master teachers, which is the group that I channel. All the information is going to be in the pinned comment, and how to get your orders. I have 5 different meditations for different purposes. So when I channel, they affect my energetic field. And if I'm leading a meditation and we're all creating a circle, as it were, they're able to affect your energetic fields also for higher intentions. And one of the guided meditations, which I think I'm going to do tonight, it's my own meditation. Well, it's the master teacher. There's a lot of toning, a lot of light language, a lot of activations that way, and frequency work or vibrational work. Well, there's frequency because it's changing the wavelength of the energies, but a lot of vibrational work. And this one is called the royalty DNA activation. So it helps you to activate. We all have royalty DNA, which is our ability to attract wealth and prestige and all that. So, anyways, you guys may enjoy that. I'll have the information, all this stuff in the pinned comment. And High Priestess is the card that I pulled. So mysteries revealed in the eyes of Isis. So the High Priestess energy is very powerful. In the tarot, it's lunar energy. It's the key 2 in the tarot. Yeah, so higher mysteries. This is a time of initiation, basically. Last year, a few of you were at Spirit Fest. It became a Sekhmet initiation that happened through me, and I got an initiation also, being the facilitator. And I know a lot of you guys had some kind of leap because you started to do different things, so they did their jobs through me. This year's probably be even bigger and better. So the High Priestess, again, that's our divine feminine power, right? Or, as men, that's especially important to develop. Women too. It's not a sexist thing. Oh yeah, well, Lily Nova. We love Lily Nova also on this channel. Lily Nova Starseed channel. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll try to keep mindful of other people, because I know a lot of you guys go to Lily's channel also. So I apologize for that it overlapped her retreat, but in any event, you're gonna have a great time. And you know what? I'll contact Lily at some point just to say, hey, we're both doing coast to coast energetics, so let's vibrationally connect, and then we'll connect energetically that way. She'll be in Mount Shasta, so that's such a huge power spot. But where I'm doing the retreat, it is a spot, it's a power spot also. And a little background is that Babe Ruth used to be very, very prominent in this area. In fact, in Phoenicia, until it burned down, there's the Babe Ruth Hotel. And the story that I heard is in back of the facility that I'm doing that, he used to play like baseball there. That there used to be a field there back in this day. Now it's all overgrown, but anyway, but you could tell there was a field there because there aren't trees. Anyhow, no, I pulled this one. Last but not least, let's do a quick angel card. Let you guys go if I can find my angel deck. Yeah, I've got the angel therapy cards. I've got a different deck today. Thing is, about that, I want to, connect with you guys as things start to move on. I definitely want to do retreats in different areas. And I'd be honored to do a retreat with Jared and Josh. Jared's, I don't think he's on the live, although sometimes he's incognito. Like the last live, I felt him and I mentioned his name and then he commented. But in any event, that's Who the Channel. And he does a beautiful work with Vedic chants and spiritual awakening. So I'd be honored to do a retreat with both of them. Anyhow, so we got Archangel Michael. That's a good archangel for this time, right? The chief of the angels. So Archangel Michael's of the south and of the element fire, and is really about strength and confidence. Patron saint of firemen, police officers and such, because very protective energy. And you're working very closely with this powerful archangel who's protecting and guiding you through the situation. So know you have spiritual protection and safety. It all starts within. You're not going to get anything on the outside protecting you if you don't cultivate that from within first. So Archangel Michael will help facilitate that for you. So as everything's changing and as we're more and more as a community finding our voices more and more, the more you find your voice and share your voice, the more you come under scrutiny, the more people that want to bring you down. So work with Archangel Michael. I work with him every day. So that's a nice way to end. Colorado, Sedona would be fun also. A lot of people do retreats in Sedona. Colorado, though, that's on my bucket list. And of course, Hawaii Island, which is very active. Pele is doing the dance of our lifetimes on the big island right now. A thousand foot lava stream from Kilauea. That's just mind-boggling. I mean, last time I went there, it was a little trickle, and that was kind of cool. 1,000 feet, oh my God! But the geomagnetics are really ramping up. I've done a few videos on that. Things I've gone through intuition, things I've gone through other teachers, but mostly through intuition about the new is it the new Cascadia Fault? No, it's the Cascadia Fault, the Cascadia subduction zone off of Oregon. I think there were a couple thousand tremors yesterday there. The New Madrid Fault off of Japan. I could go on and on, but I did a few videos about that. So we're going to see a lot of activity within the Earth herself, which means more volcanoes. But I'm going to talk a lot more about that coming up. And again, I have videos on the channel. I've one about the New Madrid Fault, why that poses such a, I don't want to use that word. Why we have to keep an eye on that, because if there's seismic activity, especially if it's about 6.5 or higher, that could create a lot of disruption. So we need to know to just be prepared for possible disruptions of our daily lives. The power goes out for an extended period, have your supplies, lots of canned food, which is cheap, by the way, if you have financial issues, all your meds, cash if you can have it, water, ways of getting water, because if the electricity goes down, the gas pumps don't work, and then your generators aren't going to work after a while. So beware of that potential. Solar activity is very high. Geo activity, earth activity is very high. And political activity, geopolitical activity is very high also. Any one of these things could cause major disruptions in our lives. But it's just the world that we live in. So stay in our heart. It's not fear-based. It's just being aware and having strategies. But the idea is to keep growing and ascending. And as things keep moving forward, we're going to be more motivated to have our own communities, to maybe step out of mainstream society for a while they figure it out. You know, with the interfacing and all the programming and everything. There's those of us that don't want to be interfaced and have artificial experiences. We prefer SI over AI, though AI is a great tool. What's SI? That's spiritual intelligence. AI is artificial intelligence. At the end of the day, remember the word. It's artificial. Great tool, but we're entering into a period where it's almost like that's becoming the new god in a way, and people are being programmed to jump aboard, and yeah, and there's a lot that's going on. It's just a lot going on in the world. So now's the time to start thinking about what are we going to do, because if things really break down to a point where society splits, which I've been forecasting since 2021. We have the mainstream society that continues, living in their smart cities, being fully mechanized and controlled. There's a lack of freedom in that, versus separating from that and continuing our human development with spirit and everything. So should that happen 2027 to 2028? So likely it could be sooner. It's not too early to start thinking about that. And when you're prepared, you create a certain vibration with the universe that makes it less likely for that you have prepared for to happen. And I've seen it in so many ways. It's like the one time that I get called with my pants down. That's the time that I really needed to prepare, right? So you set an intention by being ready, and then you can actually mitigate the actual event. Remember, it's all energy we're creating as we go along. So anyway, I know we were long today, but we are every time, it seems like. Exactly, spiritual intelligence. And oh, okay, yeah. Doesn't do reading, so somebody's asking for a reading. Now, this is more about the reading for the collective, and this reading for everybody. So take what resonates with you. But all right, I have my information. If anybody wants to book a private reading, I'll have the information both on the pinned comment and the description. And thank you again, everybody. Honored to experience you too, Millie, and everybody. Thank you so much.